if we were going to go up and ask somebody, right, who's on the UFC spectrum, all right, somebody who, that's a weird fucking way to word it, but they watch the UFC, whether they're a casual or a hardcore, or let's include even Big Bad Uncle Dana in this, okay? If I was going to ask somebody who was on the UFC spectrum, don't know why I said it twice, what do you think of the current state of UFC champions right now? I feel like we get a big variety of answers, boys, all right? I feel like some people would say, you know what? I feel like even though some of them are a little bit of decision merchants, this is like some of the most deep divisions we've ever seen, some of the highest level of skills, and some of the most well-rounded fighters. It's just such a deep level of talent, and to that I say, you might be right. And then some people might say that it's the dark age of the UFC, all right? Like, we got decision merchants left and right, and the Daggies are taking over, and this and that, and I say you might be right, all right? I feel like everyone's a little bit right in this case, okay? Today we're going to be talking about the UFC champions, the best and worst part about them. Now, we're only going to be going over the current male champions, flyweight to heavyweight. We got fucking 2 for heavyweight because UFC's a bit fucked with that right now, but I just got to thinking, man, because I can't even really decide right now. I'm like, am I really loving all the UFC champs right now, or am I more so kind of not feeling it than I am? I don't know. So we're going to break it down, and this is my personal opinion, by the way. Obviously, it's fucking objective. There's a lot to each of these guys, so you can fucking put in different things here, but this is my personal best and worst thing, in my opinion, about each current UFC champ. And if you're wondering why I'm in a car right now, I was really sick of the Ben Askren allegations. I just fucking accepted them, so now I'm giving out Ben Askren Funko Pops to all the needy kids, okay? You know how John Cena has, like, Make-A-Wish? This is my fucking thing, I guess, now, okay? So just starting off here with flyweight, okay? Alexandre Pantoja, all right? This guy's a champion who I'm honestly going to put respect on, okay? I feel like a very underrated champion, not just in terms of his skill set or whatever the fuck, but just in terms of being a quality champion for the division, okay? And even though flyweight's kind of a clusterfuck a lot of the time, at the end of the day, Pantoja and Demetrius Johnson, these guys, they've been, and even like the Figgy and Moreno quadrilogy, like whatever the hell is running the show at flyweight usually runs the show for a few years, and Pantoja's fucking doing his thing. So I think the best part about Pantoja, and I'm gonna have to explain this because it isn't gonna make any fucking sense, it's just my retarded language. I really think the best part about Pantoja is just how he gets the fuck after it. Now, what do I mean by this, okay? I mean, the guy is facing every contender, the guy is active, and the guy's not straying away from any challenges. Like, he shows up, he tries to, either put on a great pace or, great fight of the night, whatever the fuck, or go out there and take off a guy like Kaya Sakura said within the first couple of rounds. So, at the end of the day, Pantoja is active, he's taking on every challenger, he's beaten over half of the top 10, some of them multiple fucking times, and some of them are like the highest level of fucking flyweights, like Royval or Moreno or whatever the fuck. He's beaten pretty much everybody, Cobb, all these motherfuckers. So Pantoja is just on a roll, but he just gets very overlooked because it's the smallest division and the dude doesn't have any mic skills. So at the end of the day, man, like Pantoja, he puts on a good pace. He's becoming more and more well-rounded by the day. He's only been dropped fucking once. Like, the dude is kind of a fucking animal, and I can respect that in a champion. I can fuck with that in a champion, especially for flyweight. Like, they get into some fucking scraps, and Pantoja does as well. So at the end of the day, Pantoja gets the fuck after it, if that makes sense. Now, the least favorite thing about Pantoja, in my opinion, the worst part about Pantoja is clearly there is no aura on the mic, okay? There's no mic skills. He's not really going to go and try and sell a fight other than just, raising up the belt and saying how much he loves his country and he's going to go and take out this guy and he's a dangerous threat and blah, blah, blah. Like, Pantoja is just, he couldn't sell a Zesty t-shirt to a TJ Maxx, okay? Like, at the end of the day, Pantoja just, you're not tuning into a lot of his interviews or his fucking press conferences or shit like that. Like, Pantoja, for as good as his skill set is, and for as much as, like I'm saying earlier, like, he's an active champion who's not straying away from any fucking contenders. I like that for Pantoja, but at the end of the day, like, it's just, there's no personality. There's not too much aura in terms of just, like, the mic skills or really trying to sell the fight or listen to interviews. There's not really any personality, unfortunately, for Pantoja. So I would say that's probably the worst aspect of him being champ. So, and it does suck because flyweight's a division where Cop is the real only trash talker. So it's a division that would kind of need, maybe a Taporia, a McGregor, somebody that knows how to fucking yap. It doesn't have a Sean Strickland. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I'm gonna go and whoop all you 125 or tiny fucks. I don't give a shit. Dricus went out in 50-45 me. I'm having to go down a couple of divisions, alright? I'm doing it for you fucking guys. It doesn't really have anything like that in the division besides Cobb. So moving on up next though, man, to the bantamweight division. And we got the champion Merab Dvalishvili. Hey, Uncle Dana, send me contract to fight Sean O'Malley. Me and Sterling are ordering DoorDash right now. Let me know if you want anything. Merab Merab Dvalishvili, man, what is the best and worst part about this motherfucker being champ, okay? Because when he first became champ at the Sphere, compared to how people were rooting for him so crazy after he beat Umar or going into the Umar fight, it's pretty fucking remarkable, okay? The dude after the Yan fight was getting so much shit, like Mario Batista not as bad, but it was near Mario Batista level shit, okay? Of just pure smudge-fest hatred that people were having for Merab. Even though he was piling up a great win streak, a lot of people didn't want to see this guy's champ, but now the fucking turntables, alright? Now people are starting to fuck with Merab. Now Merab's one of the biggest baby faces in the UFC. It's kind of crazy to see, but I fucking love it. So I think the best part about Merab, man, I think it's got to be his cardio. It's got to be the endurance, because it's just something that, listen, we have guys like Joe Rogan saying, it's unbelievable. It's you don't see this with guys. He's an absolute killer. He's a marauder. To be able to do that to a Nurmagomedov, like, it's, I don't know, man. Like, those kinds of exaggerations do happen in MMA kind of a lot. And I don't like how after every fucking champion's defending a belt, you know, they're getting GOAT status or whatever the fuck. But at the end of the day, with Merab, it really is the case. Like, he's at the point where he's racking up such a good resume where at the end of the day, each of these wins is getting him closer and closer to becoming bantamweight GOAT, which a lot of people think he already fucking is, me included. So, but at the end of the day, like, the resume really is stacking up to be that crazy. And just the cardio endurance, it really is like once in a lifetime kind of shit. Like, I've never seen somebody like just go out there and just have an infinite gas tank just like Merab. Like, don't get me wrong, there's guys like Sean O'Malley who are able to beat him in the 5th round. It's not like O'Malley's got a crazy gas tank or anything like that. But at the end of the day, so I think Merab is hittable. He is beatable. But at the end of the day, like, the cardio and endurance, like, in all the fights I've seen or whatever the fuck, and I'm sure a lot of people who have been watching even longer than me fucking can tell you that there just isn't anything like Merab's gas tank. There isn't anything like it. Like, it's just fucking infinite. He could infinitely, you know, whip out the takedowns. He could just go the fuck after you on the feet. Even if he has sloppy as fuck striking, at the end of the day, like, it's just efficient, even though he's got pillow hands, because he's just completely able to unload on guys, and he's completely able to just spam the takedowns without fucking worrying of gassing out. Like, he's not afraid of what his opponents are throwing at him or the fear of dying out. He just doesn't have to worry about it, and it makes him that much more fucking dangerous. So even though he's got sloppy striking, even though he's hittable, even though he's got pillow hands, it doesn't matter, because the cardio just makes his wrestling and the fight IQ and everything better. Like, it's just, everything is elevated as an athlete when you don't have to worry about endurance problems. You know what I mean? You know, you could focus on just different things. You're more in the cage. It's just such a big aspect you don't have to worry about. And Merab's cardio is just so fucking impressive to see. So I gotta fucking give it to the dude. Like, it really is something I've never seen before out of a UFC fighter. They used to say that Cody Garbrandt had like cross-country college level cardio, and even that was insane. But compare a guy like Garbrandt's cardio to fucking Merab. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty crazy. So I think that that's the craziest part to Merab. That's the best part to Merab. So don't get me wrong, his wrestling is already really good, even if he didn't have great cardio, but the fact that it is so good just elevates it even more. You know what I'm saying? So I think now the worst part to Merab here, I'm not even going to go out of my way to say that he's boring, because, you know, the Henry Cejudo fight, the Umar fight, the Marlon Moraes fight, these are fun fights, okay? I'd say more so than not, Merab's fights can be duds, but I think that's more so the problem. Not that he's boring as fuck, man, but just, I mean, a little bit, man, okay? There's some Merab stinkers, man, like the fight against Aldo, the fight against Jan, the fight against O'Malley, you know, a few of the fights of Merab's build up to, you know, to getting close to facing like ranked guys, shit like that. Merab can always put on a great pace on guys and a great pressure, and the cardio's there, the wrestling's there, but the dude is a decision merchant, okay? I'm pretty sure he's only had one or two, I could be wrong in this, a couple only finishes in the UFC, and that was like at the very early end of his career. So Merab is a decision merchant, and half of his fights are fucking duds. You could argue more than half his fights are fucking duds. Don't get me wrong, when they're fun, and he always gets the fuck after it, but when they're fun fights, they're fun fucking fights, and they're rewatchable, man. I just rewatched the Marlon Moraes fight for like the 4th or 5th fucking time the other day, okay? It's a great scrap, and Merab can get after it, man. Like, and the fight against Umar, I've seen a couple of times. Like, there's shit like that, man. You get the fuck after it with that. It's enjoyable to see a good Merab scrap. The cardio's impressive. He's showboating. He's picking motherfuckers up and putting them down. You're watching him just completely tire out. They've got nothing for him. He's just going on there and making it competitive. Merab can put on some fun fights, but the worst part to him being champion, and the reason why Dana wants to get the belt off him, arguably, and all this shit, is because the dude can't really sell shit. Like, yeah, he's one of the biggest baby faces right now, but it's a lot of the hardcores and shit like that are getting behind Merab. Like, the casuals and like the Hunters and the fucking Shawns and the Danas, like, they're not getting behind a guy like Merab, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a big market to be tapped, possibly with Merab, and I like that he's gaining a lot of steam with the fans, but I I don't know, man. I mean, and I like the guy, but I just think definitely the worst part to him being champion is it's a coin flip if his fight's going to be boring as fuck or not. It's impressive either way, but it's like, fuck, man. Like, it's a lot of decisions and a lot of just pitter-patter fest, and it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, the skill set's there at least, and he's racking up fans. So moving on now to the featherweight division. Now, I'm going to make this one pretty quick because we don't really have a featherweight champion right now. On April 12th, motherfuckers, that belt's getting vacated. So I'm just going to go over probably the best and worst thing about both Volk and Lopez here. So goodbye to Topuria. It was a fun little reign while it lasted, all right? Taking out all of our fucking favorites. But let's get straight away to my favorite fighter here, Alexander Volkanovski, all right? I'm rooting for him all day, okay? And I think that the best part about him being champion, or him, I guess, shit, he was a champion. He's the featherweight GOAT. So I'd say the best part about Volk being champion is just like he kind of is a great embodiment for what a champion is. Like, he's not afraid of any contenders. Like, he wants to go and put on a show. Like, he's not going out there and Alex Pereira or Ilya Topuria flatlining motherfuckers, and he's not crazy on the mic or anything like that, but he's himself, all right? He's himself, and he takes on all fucking comers, all fucking challengers, and he's active as hell, you know? I mean, I understand he took the 1.5 years off, but we all know why, okay? It's for very good fucking reason. Look what he was doing before that, okay? He's already saying if he beats Lopez, he wants to take on Movistar like literally 3 months later. So Volk is still a fucking animal. If he didn't get knocked out twice in a fucking row back-to-back losses, I feel like there's a lot of fights he would have slipped into in the past 1.5 years, just late minute notice, if, you know, his career wasn't literally on the fucking line, or if he wasn't waiting for a title shot, you know what I mean? So the activity of Volk, the fact that he wasn't backing down from any challengers, shit like that, like, he's a great embodiment of kind of like what to have as a respectable champion, you know what I'm saying? And I think the worst part probably about Volk, you know, it's hard to say because I love the dude, all right, but I would say there's not a lot to be desired on the mic, okay? Like, there's just cooking with Volk and all that shit, it's great, and the Volkanovski singing at the press conferences, it's great and all that shit, but Volkanovski, he doesn't really sell a fight, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he's just himself, and I fucking love who the dude is. Like, I really can respect that he goes out there, and against Ortega, he knows how to talk a little bit of shit. He knows how to get the fuck after it. We saw it against Holloway in the trilogy as well. Volkanovski can poke back on the mic, all right? But at the end of the day, like, it's just not really his thing to go out there and really try and, oh, you know, I'm gonna go out there and fucking, you know, take on his wife, and I'm gonna go and fucking burn down his house, and I'm gonna fucking take him out in the first round. Like, Volkanovski's more so, you know, like the, oh, you know, go subscribe to my cooking channel, and I'm gonna do my best, and, you know, I'm gonna be who I am. Stand up for yourself, and, you know, we're gonna say who's the better man. I'm gonna go out there and prove why I'm the best in the world. Like, that's what Volkanovski does, okay? And, like, I love that the dude fucking can go out there on a fucking hour's notice and try and fight anyone in the world, and, you know, he's a bad motherfucker, okay? Let's put the fucking BMF title on Volk, for fuck's sake. But at the end of the day, man, when it comes to the mic skills and when it comes to selling a fight, Volkanovski doesn't really do too much besides just doing his own thing, you know what I'm saying? You watch Volk because you know that you're gonna get a high-level fight, you know that he's well-rounded as fuck, you know he puts on a mean pace, he's got good striking, good wrestling, like, or you're just a huge fan of Volk, so that's pretty much why you're tuning into fucking Volk fights a lot of that time, you know what I mean? It's not like it's all the build-up and the trash talk and Volk's going out there and making the stakes fucking high on the mic, nothing like that, you know what I mean? So, I guess, so going on to, like, the best part about Diego Lopez possibly being champion is that the dude is fucking exciting, okay? He's got an exciting fighting style, he's well-rounded, explosive on the feet, even his great jiu-jitsu, it's fucking relentless down there, okay? Say whatever you want about a possible gas tank problem, we're gonna have to really find out against Volkanovski and other guys, or Evlov rematch, shit like that, but at the end of the day, Lopez is just a very exciting fucking fighter, okay? Like, you could fucking point him out in any fucking bar with that goddamn mullet and the tattoos and all that crazy ass shit, but at the end of the day, Lopez is just so active, man. Like, it's crazy that people didn't know who he was 2 years ago or 1 year ago, and then from fucking UFC 300 just down to UFC 306, he completely put himself on the fucking map and took out 3 ranked guys, going from unranked to fucking top 5. Just, it's crazy shit. He's active as hell. He puts on exciting fights. Even the decisions are great back and forths, you know? The fight against Ige and Ortega are fun and shit like that. The fight against Evlov, of course. So Lopez will be fucking exciting. Now, I think that, I don't know if this is gonna make sense to y'all, but I feel like the worst part about Lopez is that there's not much to him other than that, you know? Like, he's there to fucking scrap. It's simple, it's sweet. He shows up and he's trying to take out your fucking lights. He's trying to be active and take on any comer. It's simple and you can get behind it, all right? It's easy for a casual or a hardcore to fucking pick up on. But at the end of the day, I just think there's not much to him other than that. You know what I mean? Like, he's a very that's kind of just what Lopes is, and there's nothing wrong with that, all right? But especially the fact that the dude isn't really going out of his way and trying to like promote himself on the mic. Now, don't get me wrong, you have guys like Charles Oliveira or Alex Pereira who are in the same fucking boat, and they're fucking superstars. But at the end of the day, I don't know if Lopes is gonna reach that level of height, but we'll have to fucking see. But I guess that would probably be the worst part about Lopes. I feel like that's a bitch ass reason. To be honest, I don't really feel like I have any crazy reasons about what would be like the worst part about Lopes being champ, but I don't know. I feel like it would just, I don't know if that even makes sense, but that's probably what I would say. Moving on now to the lightweight division, man. Islam Makhachev, all right, who really came from just, he's had a crazy turn as well in terms of going from heel to babyface, all right? He was just a heel because he was putting on boring-ass fights, and, you know, he was Khabib's, you know, coming up next, you know, the hot tub pick or whatever the fuck and all the bullshit. But people were really rooting against this guy going into the Oliveira fight and just going for his come up, and I can understand why. Like, it's not like I was really rooting for the guy either, but you gotta say, man, once he went on this title run, all right, and started taking out top contenders and really got a hold of the belt, he's been putting on exciting back and forths or great finishes. So I'm honestly a huge fan of the Islam Makhachev title run so far. I hope it keeps on going, and we'll fucking see what happens. But the best part I think about Islam Makhachev, man, is that this is a fighter who genuinely, man, like, you could get behind him reaching GOAT status, and it's not that crazy to think about. Like, he's really, I know some people say he's like 2 fights away. I don't think he's 2 fights away. I would say like 4 to I'd say like 4, maybe 5 if he gets like asterisks like Gaethje as an opponent or like shit like that. Like maybe like even a JDM. I don't know. Nothing wrong with JDM if he wins the belt. It'd still be a fantastic win. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it'd be different if he's beating a Belal or if he's beating a Ilia Topuria or someone like that. Like, or even Arman Tsarukyan. Like, kind of more, I don't know, not Renato Moicano on a day's notice, or not Poirier coming off of a BSD win or shit like that. Like, I think Islam Makhachev is the pound for pound best in the world right now, regardless of any weight class. But I don't know, I still think that there's a couple of his wins that people are going to look back on when he's all said and done, and they're going to question it. And that's unfortunate because Makhachev is still really fucking good, but the Volk rematch as well, like, there's shit that's questionable, and especially if he goes out there and he beats somebody like Gaethje, like, that's not going to do fucking jack shit really for him. I get that he thinks that Topuria needs to face a lightweight and someone like that, but at the end of the day, I think, if I already haven't made this clear, I think the best part about Makhachev, man, is that it's somebody who is just, it's so realistic for him to become the GOAT of the sport. Like, again, 2 fights, it's like, come on. Like, I'm not making this guy the GOAT. He already has a great resume, and he's in, like, probably top 5 at this point, to be honest. But I don't know, to put him ahead of Jones and GSP and all the other spots, it's just like, I think that he could totally do it, but it's going to take, I don't know, like, he'd probably need to go out there and beat Topuria and then beat Belal or JDM or Shavkat, whoever the actual fuck's champion, maybe defend that belt once. And I think once that's done, okay, so let's go with 3 fights. I think after 3 fucking fights, he could probably become the GOAT of the sport. Maybe 4 or 5. I don't fucking know. But the fact that he's so close and the fact that it's so realistic, man, like, he's already been racking up great wins, and the fact that he could just go out there and, like, it's somebody who can finally pass John Jones, because John Jones is a fucking shit representation for the sport. I'll fucking tell you that. So to have a guy like Makhachev, who it's just like, look, he's not a crazy trash talker or anything like that, but he's a guy who's fucking funny on the mic. He doesn't care who shows up. He doesn't fucking care, and that's what it means to be pound for the pound, brother. Like, I can get behind that shit, all right? It's like a, you know, there's like an invisible BMF belt kind of around the guy. Now, I get it. You don't really think of BMF when you think of Islam Makhachev, but you kind of fucking should. Like, he's going out there, and he just has such a point to prove about being the best in the fucking world, all right? Some CM Punk shit. So I can get behind that. So Makhachev, man, really can become the GOAT. I love these realistic GOAT runs, man. Like, the Topuria is kind of on it right now as well, but I don't think to the extent or to the level of Makhachev right now. He's just been kind of at this level for a few more years than Topuria has, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, I fucking love that from Makhachev, and I want to see him surpass Jones. I want to see him surpass all of them. I'm fucking down for it. Like, I can get behind a guy like Makhachev becoming the GOAT of the sport with a few more wins, you know what I'm saying? Now, I think the worst part about Makhachev is probably, and I'm sorry, yo, because I know there's going to be some people that are going to have arguments against this, and fucking fair enough, but it's the lack of activity, bro. I'm sorry, okay? Listen, I think that Makhachev isn't the most inactive fighter in the world. Like, look at somebody like Leon, okay? That's fucking inactivity. Look at the big bad Gunnar Nelson, okay? That's inactivity. Makhachev is not either of those two, or to that extent, okay? But Makhachev, man, like, to fight once last year, and then now he fought in January, and we're gonna get him again probably, like, October for the Abu Dhabi card, and like I can understand it. At least that's twice in a year. But it's just like for Makhachev, man, like for as efficiently as he took out Moicano, why not maybe fight in June and then maybe fight in October as well? I don't know, but maybe I'm asking too fucking much. It's just a weird in between with Makhachev because I don't think his inactivity kills his legacy, or I don't think it's anything like that. But I just think, and you could argue the worst part of Makhachev could be some of these asterisks next to his wins or something like that, but I don't think that's really on him. And again, I think sometimes the activity's not really on him. Like he'd probably fight in June if there was, like, if Saryukian, you know, they were open to the rematch or something like that, like, or I don't fucking know, or if Topuria, they would have just given him right away, or Makhachev's team was more open to it, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't think it's a matter of Makhachev being a guy who declines fights, or I get that he's getting those allegations of ducking, but I don't think he's really that kind of fighter, you know what I'm saying? I think he just has kind of a fair reason, to be honest, of just wanting to move up, or just wanting Topuria to not, or to fight a lightweight so he doesn't have to deal with the allegations of only fighting featherweights. I honestly can understand that, so I'm not going to blame him too much for that, but at the end of the day, man, like, the inactivity, sometimes it's his fault, sometimes it's not, whatever the fuck, but I don't know, man. It's not to the level of a Chimaev or an Edwards or a Nelson, whatever the fuck. But moving on now to the welterweight division here. I'm going to go out there. I'm not even going to shoot a takedown against JDM. I'm going to go out there and outbox him. I'm the best boxer in the UFC. Belal Muhammad, let's break him down, okay? The best and worst part about Belal, now if you ask me, a lot of people think that Belal being champ, the dark age of the UFC, it's the worst representation for the division. I mean, listen, I think you're right and you're wrong. Like, I think he's better as champion than a guy like Leon Edwards, but or you could argue even a guy like Shavkat is champion, because at least Belal wants to fight more than once a year, okay? I understand he's been hurt and all that shit, but at least Belal's trying to get the fuck after it. And I guess that's probably the best part about Belal being champion, is that, like, listen, I understand that he hasn't fought since July and he's not going to fight till May, but that's not really his fault. Like, he was going to do the 4-month turnaround against Shavkat right away, even with a couple of injuries going into it, so he didn't mind. And, like, just the fact that he wants to take on JDM, you know, I want to take on JDM, I want to take on Shavkat, I want to take on Michael fucking Morales, you know, I'm going to beat the fudge out of all these guys. Like, he really isn't afraid of any contender, man. And it's just like, you can sense that the guy really wants to be a good champion for the division. You could sense that he really wants to rack up legacy and get good wins. And even though he's a fucking decision merchant, like, I can really respect and appreciate that out of a champion. Somebody who wants to be active, somebody who isn't ducking or picking certain fights or just wanting to move up to middleweight right away. I know he did say that for a little bit, but he shut the fuck up with that shit, thank God. I think a lot of these champions did, thank God. But other than that, man, for the little bit, like, Belal Muhammad is just here to rack up wins and just pass GSP for being the welterweight GOAT. And some people laugh at that, but you know what? I'm gonna fucking respect it, okay? His boxing and striking has been improving. His pressure that he puts on guys is crazy. His wrestling is fantastic. He's got great cardio and fight IQ. And he's got a good corner and a good team behind him. So Belal Muhammad, man, I feel like, I mean, it's not like I'm really rooting for the guy as champ, but I'm kind of rooting for the guy as champ, if that makes sense, in some weird fucking way. Like, don't get me wrong, I think a lot of his fights are fucking duds, which that's gonna basically be the worst part about him here, but I don't know, man. Like, I can feel the urgency from him. I can feel him just wanting to fucking go out there and put on good performances, so I can appreciate that, and just trying to be active and take on fucking everybody. So I guess, yeah, transitioning to the worst part about Belal, I mean, I really don't need to get too crazy into this. Like, it's the fact that the dude could put on some boring fucking fights, okay? Belal Muhammad, I really can respect and appreciate, in a way, watching the fights against guys like, I don't know, like Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards, you know, I mean, he was pretty much wrestling Stephen Thompson the whole time, but he was beating up Luque, like shit like that. Like, Belal Muhammad puts on such a crazy pressure and pace on guys, and it's not like, again, a Merab level of cardio and shit like that, but it's really fucking, you know, it's kind of crazy to watch sometimes, and it does make it relatively entertaining sometimes watching a Belal fight. But I'm not gonna lie, man, like, a lot of the times, like, it is a bit of fucking duds, man, like, a lot of the time, okay? Now listen, like, look at the fight like Leon Edwards, like, that's probably one of the more entertaining. I'm talking about the rematch, the second one, not the first one. The first one was a bit of it, actually pretty solid back and forth, but the second fight is honestly one of the better Belal Muhammad fights, and you're not really seeing that many people going back all crazy and excited or even that interested to go and rewatch it. Like, there's not much to be desired with rewatching a Belal Muhammad fight. Like, you're kind of just buying the pay-per-view, and then, like, whatever the fuck happens. He's probably gonna go out there and beat whoever the fuck he's fighting, even though they kept making him a fucking, like, underdog every fight and shit like that. But at the end of the day, man, Belal just puts on stinkers, okay? The wrestling is impressive as fuck, the cardio, the fight IQ, the pressure and pace he puts on, alright? He's fucking evolving all the time, even though he's getting fucking up there in age, alright? He's fucking 8 billion billion or some shit. So at the end of the day, man, Belal Muhammad, I respect it, but it's just there's so many decisions. There's so many boring fights. There's a lot of pitter-patter fest, and it's unfortunate, man. You know what I mean? Like, if there was a little bit more finishes or just something like that. I don't need to finish every fucking time, okay? But, like, it's just a little something, man. Like, you shouldn't have a fucking, is this fight going to go to the distance betting odds, and it's like a minus fucking 500 every time Belal fights. Like, that says a lot. So, moving on now to the middleweight division, man. Dricus Du Plessis here. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a lot of bad things to say as Dricus being champ, man. Like, he's one of my favorite fighters, probably my favorite champion on the roster right now, man, arguably. Maybe I'd like Aspinall more or a little bit like that, but Dricus Du Plessis, man, I'm all for it, and I think the best part about him being champion is that he kind of has everything you want in a champion. Like, he knows how to talk shit, he fucking bullies guys and is making them cry. Some of the most badass motherfuckers on the entire planet, he's making cry in a fight build-up. He did it twice, all right? Like, if he goes out there and he makes Chimaev cry, like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like, I swear to God, I'm really excited for those two to fucking go and talk their shit back and forth. I'm really hyped for that fight in general. But just, I don't know, Dricus Du Plessis, man, he knows how to talk his shit. He knows how to do build-up. He knows how to sell a fight. Don't get me wrong, the dude doesn't even have over like 1 million Instagram followers yet or something like that, which is kind of like disappointing to see for like such a, I feel like high level champion, entertaining champion like Dricus, but he's putting on great fights. He's well rounded as fuck. Like, he has high level finishing ability. He's always looking for the finish. Granted, he's fucking sloppy a lot of the time, okay? He's looking like he's got one of those like wet floor signs, all right? And he's trying not to slip over a banana peel or whatever the fuck. Listen, I get it. He could be sloppy, but he's going out there and the technicality is improving. We saw it in the Strickland rematch. But even regardless, even though the two decisions against Strickland were there, like, a lot of the time Dricus is getting finishes, man. Even though he's losing half the time in these fucking fights, he wins all of them at the end of the day. Like, the dude has aura. He's putting on entertaining fights. He wants to be active. He wants to take on all fucking comers, all contenders, and he knows how to talk his shit. So he really does kind of cross off every box in terms of like what people want out of a champion, and he's pretty much the representation for South Africa right now. And Dana's trying to get the arena down there and get a show down there. That would not be a fucking thing without Dricus, okay? So at the end of the day, he's carrying a fucking nation on his back, and he has everything that you want in a champion, in my opinion. Now, maybe I'm being biased here because he's one of my favorites, I don't know, but I feel like he's one of my favorites because of these factors. Like, I can always count on Dricus putting on an exciting fucking fight or trying to look for the finish. He's very consistent, and he makes the build up to fights pretty fucking fun, especially once he became champ. So I guess the worst part about Dricus, man, fuck, dude, I might have to put NA for this one. Like, I really have no fucking idea here. Because, I don't know, like I said, he kind of has everything you'd want in a champion, so I really don't know. Like, I'm not going to put as one of the reasons, like, the sloppiness. Like, because, like, I don't fucking know. Like, the dude fights like a goofy goober, what can I say? But I don't know if I'm going to make that, like, the worst thing about him. But I really don't have a worst thing for Dricus here. Like, let me know in the comments below what I could be putting here. I'm kind of really blanking, but I really don't know a bad thing about Dricus really being champ, So moving on now to the light heavyweight division, the fresh and the new Big Angus champ. Now, shit, man, I guess the best part about Big Ank, I would say, is that he's underratedly entertaining, okay? Like, listen, I think the fight against Rakic, I think the fight against Pereira, I think a lot of fights, the fight against Blachowicz as well, like, I think a lot of fights in Ankalaev's record are duds, okay? But I think that he's underratedly entertaining. Like, I think that he puts on a fair share of finishes. I think when he does have fun fights, like, I think he can fucking go out there and put on a great pace, really fucking put on a show. I think that it doesn't happen a crazy amount of the time, but, like, he has an underrated finishing ability, He, like, people forget that the dude is primarily a striker. I don't think so much anymore after the Pereira fight that really put him on the map, but, like, the dude is gonna be a lot more comfortable just being on the feet. He didn't even shoot a fucking takedown against Rakic. So, like, yeah, he has the wrestling in his back pocket, and yeah, he can really put on some fucking smudge fest sometimes, but at the end of the day, man, like, he's an underratedly entertaining fighter, okay? I think it does depend on the fight. Like, I think Ankalaev shows up ready to win no matter what, but, like, the dude's practically undefeated, against, or other than against the big bad Paul Clegg, but I don't know, like, the fun fights for Ankalaev are actually pretty fucking fun, and the finishes that he does get are pretty fucking sick. So I don't know, like, an underratedly entertaining fighter, even though when he's boring as fuck, don't get me wrong, okay? But I would say that it's not as much as people think. So I think the worst part about Ankalaev, though, I guess kind of twisting into that, is that you don't know when it's going to be fucking entertaining or not, man, okay? It's like a parallel of the pro, Like, you can always count on him, showing up to fucking win, but in terms of it being an entertaining fight, like, it's a bit of a question mark, man. It's going to be interesting to see Big Ank as champ, okay? Because I think that a guy like Prochazka is going to be able to bring out a really fun fight against him. But I think if we saw, like, I don't know, like Ank versus Olberg or, like, Ank versus Blachowicz, the rematch. I don't know. Like, I feel like I can count on these fights not being too great. You know what I mean? So shit like that, man. So it's going to take like a Khalil Roundtree or Prochazka to kind of bring out the fire of Ank. And don't get me wrong, when the fire's out, it's fucking out. It's fucking out. You know what I mean? Like, we saw that against most recently probably Johnny Walker and shit. But then again, I don't fucking know. We're going to have to see with Ankalaev being champ. He's very new. He's the most fresh champion on this list. So we're going to have to fucking see how the title reign goes. Pereira set the bar high in terms of being a really entertaining active champ. So we'll fucking see. So, and before that, it was like Jones and DC and all that bullshit. So moving on now to the last one we got here. I mean, I wanted to go over Jones, but basically the pro of Jones is that, you know, he's the go to the sport, so it kind of makes it, you know, you do technically want to tune into a Jones fight because it's whether you're a hardcore or a casual, because it's like, you do want to see if the guy's going to be able to maintain the perfect record or perfect with the fucking asterisks, okay? You do want to see if the dude's going to be able to maintain GOAT status. It's a really intriguing aspect of the Tom Aspinall fight. So that's the best part, I guess, but the worst part is that the dude is a fucking embarrassment for the sport. He's an embarrassment to have as a GOAT. He's stalling that heavyweight division. It's like a division that already needs some fucking help, all right? And if Aspinall was champion, it could be a fucking better division as a whole. It matters a lot. The champion kind of sets the tone for everything, but Jones is completely holding it up, holding up everything, holding up pay-per-views, holding up Dana's, or not Dana, fucking holding up Tom Aspinall's entire career. It's a fucking shame. His prime. So Jones can go fuck himself, man. It's just a terrible thing for a champion to be. He's inactive. He's ducking contenders. Wants all the fat checks. And I get it. He's the go to the fucking sport for now, but fuck this guy, okay? So Aspinall, right? The real champion. Yeah, the undisputed champ, baby. I think the best part about Aspinall, man, is that you can be very positive that he's gonna put on a fucking show or put on a crazy finish, okay? Like, it's one of those fighters where it's like a Hamzat Chimaev or a fucking Justin Gaethje or a Michael Chandler, like an Ilia Topuria, some shit like that, where it's like a fighter that you know when they show up, it's gonna be always exciting or always a crazy finish. Aspinall's one of those fighters, man. He has the shortest average fight time in UFC history, and he's the interim fucking champ, defending interim champ. He just wants to be the best in the fucking world. Like, he knows how to go and wave his dick around. He knows how to be confident as fuck. But at the end of the day, man, like, he doesn't talk too much shit. All right, very humble guy, brother, but he's so fucking confident and just wants to make such a big point about being the best that I fucking love it. Aspinall is one of my favorite champs right now, just one of my favorite fighters on the roster. Like, I really want to see Aspinall do well. I want to see him keep taking out contenders if we're hopefully lucky enough to fucking see it. But Aspinall is just, it's such a safe bet for him to go out there and put on a crazy fight, or for him to go out there and just completely take out a guy in a fucking minute. Now, don't get me wrong, we're gonna see him eventually get dragged into deep waters. You know, I think John Jones is really the only guy in the fucking heavyweight roster right now to be able to do that. But who knows what he's like in the third round and beyond. You know, maybe he just goes out there and gasses out. We don't know. Maybe against a really high level wrestler, he ain't shit down there. We don't know. So there's question marks to Aspinall for sure. But if there's any safe bet, dude, it's that the dude is gonna fucking show up and he's gonna try and put a fury on the other guy. So I think the worst part about Aspinall, man, fuck. I mean, it's a similar one to Dricus where I don't even really know. Like, but I think the worst part about it is just not even his fault. Like, it's the holdup. Like, we don't even get to see Aspinall be champion right now. So I think the worst part about Aspinall isn't even Aspinall's fault. It's just like, it's not the allegations, the negotiations dragging on. It's John Jones ducking him. Like, it's the fact that we can't see him fight. Like, it's nothing against Tom Aspinall. It's just the worst part about him being champ is the fact that we can't even see him be champ. You know, we can't see the Cyril Gane fight. We can't see a Volkov rematch. We can't see the Jones fight. Jones is holding up this dude's career in the entire division, and it's so fucking unfortunate. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe you'd want to see more to Tom, like, in the later rounds. I don't know. You can kind of put some different things in here. I can't really think of anything too much, though, so I'm just going to be saying that the worst part about Aspinall being champ is that we can't fucking see him be champ. So, fuck John Jones for that. So, anyways, that is going to be it, guys, for this Yap session here. That's going to be it for, in my opinion, what I think is the best and worst part about every UFC champion right now. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. Let me know if you guys want a free Ben Askren Funko Pop. Let me know. I'll come drop one off, but I'll do like the ice cream truck sounds and all that bullshit. But dude, in all seriousness, man, thank you guys so very much for making it this far in the video. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you to all y'all for watching, and just let me know your opinions in the comments below. Like, where was I right? Where was I wrong? What are your best and worst parts about each of the champions right now? Let me fucking know in the comments below. And if you guys could please help me get to 1,000 subs, I would really greatly, heavily fucking appreciate it. So all the smoke here, man. Appreciate y'all a lot. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you all next time.